Hello and welcome to another Sunday in the company of me. It's another rainy Sunday. It's December. What do you expect? So yeah, it's Sunday again. I have had a long weekend because the networks at my work went down at a little before 11 on Friday. And I talked to my boss and she was like, well, I guess this means the weekend's already started. So yeah, have I done anything with my weekend? Let's see, no. Well, that's not true. I got both a bonsai and a succulent starter kit. I bought them sometime last month, and they arrived Friday, and I soaked the seeds for the bonsai and I planted the tiny seeds for the succulents. And today, 48 hours later, I have put one of the kinds of bonsai tree seeds in its second bath. I put two in the fridge. One has to stay there for 4 to 6 weeks. One has to stay there for 6 to 8 weeks to germinate. And I have planted the fourth. And the one that's been put in water again will need to be planted tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe there will be bonsai trees before Christmas. There won't. Maybe they will start sprouting. Could be. I'll keep you updated. I'm not sure I'm going to do the daily updates that Charlotte requested on Instagram. Yeah. Just because it'll be, oh, these are still in the fridge. These are still not sprouting. It says it takes 2 to 3 years before you can start shaping your bonsai tree. I don't know. Is this a bonsai podcast? Maybe. We shall see. We shall see. So if that was loud. First off, what am I wearing? I am wearing my new FO. And it is the Beine by Olive Knits. Knitting for Olive. And it is nothing like the original. I'll show you a picture of the original. I didn't bring it up, but I can easily find one. I'll just go on Instagram because it should be there. Come on, it's better. So this is what it looks like originally. So puffy sleeves, a big turtleneck. You can't see the huge ribbing that she's pushed underneath the body. And it's knit in a mohair fingering weight merino combination, which we know how I feel about. So instead I chose to knit it with, I actually have a skein left over. This, which is Sandnes Garn Alpaca. It's around a DK weight, according to the ball band. And I knitted one-stranded. So I didn't do the turtleneck because choking hazards. The neck could be a bit bigger, but I don't mind. and it has a raised back that you do within the ribbing. Just doing short rows, so nothing magical. And I did, well, my gauge was different, so I did 3/4 length sleeves, which if you push it up actually has a bit of overhang, bulb, whatever. I only did a 5 cm rib. I'm not wearing anything underneath because although you can see my bra and my stomach, I'm not completely convinced you need anything underneath it. It is a much more fitted look on me, but that was my intention. So really, this came out the way I wanted it. Except that the neck could be a little looser and the sleeves could be a bit more puffy, but I could easily see this being worn over something. Just because it has that feel of being a layering piece, so like a shirt or blouse with a collar underneath would work fine. But yeah, this took 9 skeins of yarn. Again, didn't have the right gauge, didn't enjoy the pattern. I didn't really follow the pattern a whole lot. Followed it for the numbers, but I did a size, I did the XL, which shouldn't work on me, but it does because of the difference in gauge, because I have 20 stitches to 10 centimeters, whereas the gauge for the XL is either 22 or 21 stitches. She uses different gauges for different sizes, and she had, you could either do the XL, which would be 113 centimeter bust, or the 2XL, which would be the 127 centimeter bust. It is supposed to be oversized, I didn't want that. So I did the XL as I said, but with a different gauge, so I got a nice and fitted version. Because the difference in gauge gave me that little extra. And I didn't change anything with the back and front. It's just a 50-50 split. I didn't do anything because that would mean splitting the pattern, and I didn't want to do that. I could have done that, but I didn't want to. So yeah. Nice and cozy on a cold day. So yeah, if you do opt for the pattern and what it says to use in the pattern, I think I would have had to use 1500 meters, and I bought 10 skeins, and these are something 110 meters per skein. So I used less than 1,000 meters. Just, you know, again, I left out the long sleeves, I left out the collar, turtleneck, but I think I might have knit mine longer. Not sure, because at that point I just did whatever I wanted. Yeah, pretty much. I think I knit this on 3.5mm needles, but I'm not actually quite sure. I think that's it. And 3mm needles for the ribbing, probably. Yeah, so not a whole lot to tell you. If you do like the look of the original, go for it. Just beware, the pattern is not the best pattern ever written. What else? Well, I've been knitting some more on my test. The test knit I'm doing for Anna Johanna. And I am doing it out of Volapük merino silk in the colorway Storm Cloud. So soft and squishy. And Countess Ablaze Rebel Fingering in the colorway You Can't Achieve Yourself Out of Childhood Trauma. Which is my main color, and it is soft and squishy but slightly tighter wound, so it's not as soft and squishy as the Storm Cloud. And I have finished the yoke chart and have done 2 rows of the body chart. Let me just unroll this here. And this little guy is where I was last week. So I need to knit this new pattern down here until the front measures 23 centimeters. It's the reason I say the front is that the back does have the raised back. Well, I wasn't showing you the front, so the back has the raised back. So you take the measurement from the front. And we are not there. I think I am maybe 4 centimeters out, so I'm guessing there. I don't know how much of a repeat I will need to do, but basically, this will look better with the after blocking. So basically you have this type of motif where it's solid up here, and you have this type where it is not solid here but it has different dots. And that is the 2 different kinds of, I think she calls them flowers. I can kind of see it, but I still think it reads more feathery. But those are the 2 kinds that you alternate between. So you have 1 row of the solid head and 1 row of the dotted head. And yeah, so I am working on a solid head right now, going into the body, which is basically the same for both. Now, this blue here, you can't really tell on camera, but it does have some spots that are grey-ish. Not the same tone of grey as the Storm Cloud, but they do sometimes read more grey, which it doesn't happen a lot, but it did trip me up at one point. But I figured out that it was actually the main color I had used, which was also the one that I had to use. So now, as I said, this is a test knit, and and the deadline is the middle of January, so it'll probably be published end of January, beginning of February. So far there's not been any issues with the size I'm knitting, which might be the XL size. Don't remember. I know what number it is in the pattern, so counting. So it's probably the XL size. Again, it's a fit issue where I like my things fitted, and so it should work out that way. I think it goes up to a 3XL. Might actually go up further. I'll find the numbers for you. Hang on. It is called Horas, and it comes in. Let's just see. It comes in. Oh, it comes in sizes extra small, small, medium 1, medium 2, large XL, 2XL, 3XL, 4XL, 5XL. So that is a bust measurement from 86.5 centimeters up to 166.5 centimeters. And the one I'm doing is the XL. And that has a bust measurement of 126.5. The one size down is 113.5. So yeah. But I think that that I might push some of the extra stitches into the arms, because they could be a bit tight, I'm not sure. And all of these numbers mean nothing to you because at the moment you have no way of obtaining this. Still no word on when, or at least I haven't seen it, on when you can pre-order her book. I think Lane has been really busy pushing their new magazine, which comes out next week. So it might have been buried, either by them or just hasn't appeared. Because there was supposed to be news this week. I'll have to check afterwards. So yeah. Part of me is looking forward to splitting this because these rounds are getting big. So yeah, I'll just move the marker up. Just checking to make sure that it is recording before I move the marker up. So there we go. Okay. Because I cast off my pine, I cast on something new, but I didn't do it until yesterday, so there's not a whole lot to show you, so I did bring a picture on my phone. But I cast on something using this really dark midnight blue Wollmeise lace garn. Now all my lace garn skeins, except for maybe one or two, I do have several, are Försökskaninchen or from the Lucky Dip bags they did. So I can't tell you what this is. And it has a contrast color. This is hedgehog fibers. It's their sock. And it is something I can't remember right now. It could be their Monet, because I do have two very different scales of Monet, but I think Monet is more blue. I will have to look that up for you, but first, this is what I have cast on for. It's the Laurel jumper or sweater by, oh, that's not what I wanted. It is by Anna something. Anna Along avec Anna. This is the design. And she's called Anna something with a D. Anna Devu. Yeah. It's again another size inclusive pattern. It goes from 83 centimeters to 161 centimeters with a recommended ease of 5 centimeters. Now I am knitting the 120 centimeter because again the one size down is 111. Also, you don't get the most stretch with stranded color work, so there is that. The next row on this is actually a color work row. So what it does is it has for each color work repeat has solid color work that is zigzagged and goes one way, solid. I could just show you so and talk to you while. Okay, so as you can see, it is solid, then it has this little wavy line, then it goes zigzag one way, wavy line, zigzag the other way. So those four color work with the stockinette in between are your repeats, and it's repeated all the way through. You do have yoke increases, which are done as a traditional yoke, so in the round and I think there are 4. I've done 1, then there's one on, yeah, there are 4, because without revealing too much, I can reveal that for my size you do, or maybe it's all sizes, I don't remember. You do increases on row 2, 9, 20 and 34 of the color work. The color work doesn't have 43 rows, but you know, repeated. And it again has the raised back. Just by doing a couple of short rows. I know it looks see-through, but it won't actually be once it gets washed. It's just that when you have it to the light with nothing else, you can see the light. And I'm knitting this on 3.25mm needles because of the gauge. I am a loosey-goosey knitter because I think in the pattern it says to knit it on 3.75. But that would give me a gauge that's completely different from what this is. I was trying to figure out for you what the hedgehog fiber was, and I am not sure if I can, but I can at least attempt to look for you. If I can remember. It's a hedgehog fiber, and I know that much. It is actually that one, I am pretty sure. It's hummingbird. Yeah, this is definitely hummingbird. And you can use a gradient or mini skeins for this project, which is actually what they mention. But I thought it would give a nice effect to use one of these skeins because we all have sock yarn that we bought because it looked pretty in the skein. We don't know what to do with it. Just saying. I do also have the Monet. I might only have one skein left of that. I had two of them that were quite different. Again, I might have two of them. And I am thinking that Julie, I have a pattern that I own and it's also in my queue, so I'm just going to find it. Which is another option. Julie knits in Paris. It's the gaudy jumper, which mimics a stained glass window. And so look how nice it looks in a highly variegated skein. That would be a great option for something like that as well. And actually the not the hummingbird, the Monet skein I have might actually, you can't say, let's just see if I don't have it in here. Budgie. I know I have the Monet, but did I use it? Is that why I can't find it? Yeah, I partially used it. Okay, so that's good to know. But something like that would look really good in that jumper. Now I want to cast on that jumper. It could be a birthday cast on. Something to think about. I don't even know how much yarn you would need of that. It does use a fingering weight. The gauge is tiny. So you would need, depending on your size, you could probably get away with just one skein of the the variegated. You do need a little more than one skein for the largest sizes, but still, and it is an extra small to a 5X. It is doable, could be done. Right, I might have to think about this and do it off camera. But yeah, Next row, I'll introduce the color whack. Now, last week I had no sewing, so first I figured, okay, I will count my repairing of my dad's shirt collar. Well, I didn't repair the collar, I took off the collar. So this used to be a very normal men's shirt with the big collar and everything, but my dad, the edges like all over on the collar were so threadbare that they were threatening to come apart. And when I picked it apart, it actually became worse because I could see that it was all of the collar. I figured it was just the outer collar part that might needed to be taken off, but that the collar band might still be usable. It wasn't. So I ended up taking it all off and have bound it with some Liberty of London trees. A remnant that I had that wasn't really, well, it wasn't a remnant. It was something that needed to be tossed out, so I had it in my little basket I have with scraps that just need to be tossed out at some point, and I tend to just fill it up instead of doing it as is. So yeah, I mean, it will be workable. I did say to my dad that this might end up being the solution. He doesn't mind, he just needs the shirt because he wears it a lot and it smells really strongly of him, even though it has been washed. And I say him, which is more like it smells of motor oil and sweat, which is my entire childhood. My dad's always smelled like this. So, and there's a stain on it. I didn't make the stain. Stains are all his. He's more prone to stains than I am. So we have that problem, both of us. But yeah, it's wearable again. He really likes the shirt, and my dad doesn't really care about formalities, and now he has a shirt bound with Liberty of London. This is also the guy who refuses to wear anything knit because my grandmother used to knit a lot for him in what he called scratchy wool because they were poor and it was what was available. But he does wear a pair of white sparkly socks with rainbow speckles that I knit myself but ended up too big, so he likes, when it's cold, he likes to wear them on top of his socks. His socks that are purchased at the grocery store, but are the kinds with colours on them. He only wears one brand of socks. He sticks by them in all their colourful dadness. So, and he doesn't know what Liberty of London is. And he doesn't need to know how much fabric from them costs. It isn't my only bit of sewing, because I also did this. Now, you're forgiven for thinking, Fia, you lost the plot. What are you doing? This is the collar of a Coffee and Thread Naomi shirt. Now, the interesting bit, this is also for the Naomi shirt. The Naomi shirt has a yoke that is made out of the sleeve, And so I'm using two pieces of, well, it's actually three pieces of remnants of the same Nani Hydro fabric, but in two different colors. So the grey for the sleeves, because I had just enough. And when I say just enough, I mean just enough. So part of this has cut slightly into the selvage. It comes in a long and short sleeve version. As you can tell, this is the short sleeve version. So it'll have a cuff, and the body and the trim, so the cuff and the collar, are all in the black with contrast sleeves, which means contrast yoke, to really highlight that the yoke and sleeves are one. This is my tester, and if this looks as nicely as I imagine it should, I'm going to use one of my Black Friday purchases to make the long sleeve version out of this Mind the Maker. Doesn't say what it is, but this, you won't get the same contrast with this because I'm using the same fabric all over, and it's a big pattern, so I mean, even though there is a difference, you won't, well, you should be able to see that there's a seam line, but you won't really notice as much as with this contrast. This starts out by making the color, so that is why I haven't done anything beside this. Very standard construction with an under and over collar. Next will be to attach the color band, and then I haven't read ahead in the pattern. I don't know, well, next will probably be attaching the sleeves to the body pieces. We shall see. We shall see. My other purchase is Black Friday purchase is also a Mind Maker fabric. I have 3 meters of this, which is too much, but I wasn't completely convinced of what I wanted to use it for, just that I was in love with this fabric. I will say, this time around, I wouldn't say no to any of the Mind Maker fabrics, but what I am going to make is a dress, because I think this will really work well with this, with the vision I have for this, and it is by a French pattern company, and you can do contrast. So this is it. It looks nice and demure on top and swirly in the skirt. You can make, let's see, it is called the Sonia dress, and yeah, and these are some of the different versions they have made of it. As you can see, you can put in the contrast, or you can make it solid. I really like that lace insert bit in the black, which is also here. I mean, one of you wants to invite me to a nice restaurant, I will totally make this with the lace bits and wear it. I just need a couple of weeks notice, or maybe more, probably more. But yeah, those are all my purchases, all my sewing, all my knitting, all my planning. All of it. And my bonsai trees. Well, my bonsai seeds. Right. I am going to have lunch, work a bit more on the collar. Well, at least get the collar band attached to the collar, if nothing else, because I've already read up on that step, so that should be easy. And I'll see you next week. Have a great week. Bye. I said bye.